And welcome back to the Michael and Ellis Show, Survivor Season 48, Episode 5. Whoa, we have a very special guest here, Beck. The original first ever guest star on the podcast?
I think so.
Yes,
oh my god. Wow. It's an honor. It's truly an honor to be back. Thank you.
What are your
here.
So happy to have you back, and we are very curious what your thoughts on the season are, because if you saw our stats last episode, I think we can all agree Beck is most improved from last season. With picking the first 2 boots last season. So how are you feeling this season? You just lost your first player, Queen Bianca, sadly.
Yeah. I know, and in the most tragic way possible. Her name wasn't even really seen on the board until the RuPaul lookalike, Mr. Cedric, decided to axe Miss Bianca just because she didn't have a vote, which is crazy.
The butt doctor.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. The butt doctor decided to be a butt and decided to get rid of my girl.
For real, I've been pissed at Cedric recently. Anyways, sorry.
Honestly, I very much predict that he will be a a mergatory boot.
You think so?
Because I think so. I feel like he's just been kind of turning his back on a lot of people. Like, obviously he turned his back on Say again by not telling her that he was changing his vote to Bianca, at least to our knowledge. And I mean, Mitch still voted for Say anyways, so I'm not sure if Mitch was also informed of the change in the vote last minute. It seemed like it was only Chrissy and Cedric in on the switch vote, so there is the potential to start to fester some distrust with Chrissy and Cedric. So
yeah.
Also,
it was
Bianca,
a weird duo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bianca in her exit interview also said that she told Cedric, and then she watched him for the rest of the time they were on the beach, and I don't think production even had time to take people one by one for confessionals. That's how late she went to tell Cedric. She told him, and then they were off the tribal basically.
Oh wow.
Which
did Bianca say anything about Cedric potentially having a conversation with Chrissy, or was it just there was literally no time?
She said he did not have any conversation.
So interesting, because I know Chrissy at the beginning of when they first tribe swapped, she was kind of the masthead of getting Bianca out first. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if the case for Say wasn't enough for her to really change her mind, and she was kind of acting on her own volition, or if it was something said during tribal that kind of changed her mind.
I thought it was interesting that it was once Thomas went home, they're like, oh great, a purple already went home, so now we can keep Bianca. That was very interesting. I think the only thing I could see is Cedric mentioned at tribal that he's sometimes all it takes is a glance and you know who to vote for. So I don't know if Cedric was just to yeah.
He's
Ian Chrissy.
he's like Bianca.
No, literally. No, absolutely. And I also think Bianca also, I believe, said something along the lines of I am staying true to the alliances that I've made. And then it cut to Cedric, and he kind of went because obviously he knew she had kind of had this alliance with the Say and Cedric, had the alliance with Thank you. I feel a little validated. I will.
Oh, sorry.
You go. No, you go.
I will say, I think that you could make an argument for Cedric being the season's villain.
I would agree.
And I think that's where you're going with that.
At least with Say, it's she's very in your face upfront about it. But Cedric is sneaky behind your back. Betrayed Justin, went home. Betrayed Kevin, went home. Betrayed Bianca, went home. And lied to their face until the very end.
Yeah. And betrayed Say every single time in the process.
Yes.
Well,
so
I don't think I don't think Cedric was ever going to vote out Say. I think he was going to vote Chrissy with Bianca and Say. And then once Bianca came to him and was like, we can't do that. Like, I don't have a vote. We have to get out Say. Cedric was like, fuck, well, I don't want to get out Say. I think Cedric and Say do have a very, like, personal, like, father and daughter weird relationship. And I think Say is willing to boot that relationship out of here. Cedric's just not realizing that.
I also think it was partially self-preservation, because it was like, if it had gone like to a revote, it would have become obvious that Cedric and Say voted for Chrissy, and Cedric would have almost immediately burned up that, like, any semblance of an alliance they might have had.
Yeah.
And especially, like, if they had revoted and voted the same, then it just goes to rocks, and then it's just like, okay, like, either Bianca or Cedric are going home. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Mitch?
Oh, no, it was either Bianca or Say are going home.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
No. It was between Bianca. No, it was between
Bianca,
Say and.
because when it goes to rocks, isn't it everybody but the people who were voted for? So it would be Bianca, Cedric.
Yes, but so I don't know. They would have to come to a consensus if it was tied. And then if they can't come to a consensus, then they draw rocks. But
Okay.
Bianca doesn't have a vote, so she can't like.
Oh.
She can't like contribute to the consensus vote.
Yeah.
But I feel like what would have happened, what she was banking on, is they would have tied, and then Cedric and Mitch would have had to be like, okay, well, we gotta decide on one, and they probably would have just. I think she was banking on them coming to a decision. And even then, like, going to rocks is probably better than whatever.
Yeah.
We also got to see more of Mitch and his like game playing side, because I found it interesting. I don't know if you guys like caught this or like focused on this, but Mitch will like straight up like threaten people, like not like threaten, but like he'll definitely be like, if you don't do this, you're burning this bridge for good.
Can you what is
like,
the context?
There was definitely like, I think he was talking to, it was like Cedric or like Bianca about voting with them, and he was basically like, if you're not voting with us, that's burning this bridge like forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was like very interesting, because it seemed out of character for him, but I guess we haven't until now seen him in like a kind of more survival state where he's been on the losing team. So it is interesting that he has those kinds of like threats like ready to go, and I am interested if he like says it, like if he does that again like later in the merge, and how people react to that.
Mitch is like, okay, one, I mean, they lost the challenge and went to travel this episode, but Mitch still is carrying it in the challenges. One,
100%. Yeah.
And then two, he's getting advantages. He's making really strong tight alliances with people on his original tribe, and then like making really strong alliance with Cedric too. Bianca seemed like she was in with Mitch too. Did they had a scene where they were like, I want to work with you. Like,
yeah.
Mitch is playing, and like, I don't know. I feel like he could go pretty far. I don't think he's like an early merge boot possibility. So I think he's looking good.
Yeah. I think the only sorry. I was gonna say, I think the only potential for like catastrophe, I guess, in that situation is like kind of, as Michael was saying, like if he does kind of go like pretty headstrong into the merge, like kind of trying to control things a lot. Like I feel like a lot of times when we like go into the merge, a lot of times when like the players who are like trying to take full control over the vote usually put a target on their backs, and usually will end up on the losing side of a lot of those votes. which is why I'm kind of leaning towards like the Cedrics and the Say types of like mastheads as like being a lot more likely to be stuck in that like mergatory area, like getting voted out in those kind of episodes. But I guess we'll just have to see with that one.
I will say it's impressive that Say has managed to kind of piss off everyone, even people that she's never been on a tribe with, and they have very minimal contact. So
Yeah.
That's
think that, like,
true.
I do think it's going to get to a point where, especially now, that, and this is kind of the thing about like having your game be so strong in the beginning, that burnout. And I think that's what we're going to see with Say, because I think no one views her as a threat anymore. Her game is so on the table, so out there, that there's no like mystery with her. And I think people are going to use that to their advantage. So I think she will end up going like pretty far, mostly because I don't think people will view her as a threat. At least right now, it seems that way.
So you
Yeah.
think she's gonna make it far?
I think she's going to go pretty far. At
'Cause-
least not anytime relatively soon.
Because I feel like I could also see the flip, or I could see the flip side. I don't know, Beck, were you about to say the same thing?
A little bit. I was gonna say, I think in a previous episode of this, longtime listener, you guys mentioned that like they kind of like is a little bit like Rome last season was, in the way of like very outspoken, very like much like putting her cards on the table and trying to control a lot of the different things by like creating those alliances and being able to manipulate those alliances to kind of do what she wants. And being very like outspoken about that. And I think like there is a good chance that that could kind of like crash and burn in her face. And like as you said, like she has already made so many enemies that like especially when you get to that like mergatory kind of area, I feel like it could kind of explode back into her face.
True.
I don't know.
Rome was voted out in the mergatory, so
It's true.
Literally everyone all together decided that we just fucking hate Rome. We're voting him out. So
Do you think they're going back to the mergatory? Because on the preview, it was I mean, yeah, it's probably gonna stay the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm guessing they're gonna split them up into like two teams and be like 6, 7, and then one person like draws a white rock and they're like, I think this team's gonna win, and they just go with that one.
Well, how many players are left? Because I don't know. Is it I'm trying to look.
I think it's 13.
Right. So because usually they do the mergatory where it's one full tribal, and then the next episode when it's 12, they split them into 6 and 6.
Yeah.
And that's when the jury starts, is on the like 11th player to go home.
Yeah.
Right.
But or no, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I will say okay. I think I'm hilarious.
And Cedric said,
and I think keeping players like Say, as annoying as it is, if I was playing the game, I would be keeping all of the dislikable people. I'm like, I need people who are impulsive, who are annoying, who like are not likable. Especially in like big crowds. Like I think it would suck if you're on their like tribe when there's 6 people, but especially the beginning of Merge, I think like using them as a distraction while you go more behind the scenes and can like, because everyone's gonna be like, because that's the thing I was thinking about. I'm like, you're stuck with these people for 24 hours a day. Like everyone is going to gossip about everything, because it's like you just have to fill the air with like things, like you're gonna just talk about the most random shit. And so if people are spending more time focusing on like, I don't know, like, oh my god, this person keeps like going off the rails, like I feel like that's better and less of a chance that like, also you can use it to bond with people. Like nothing bonds people like a common enemy.
Actually, so true.
Like it's great.
I feel like a good like meat shield could definitely be kind of smart for the game, because it's like they're almost like dispensable, expendable.
Expendable.
That's the word.
Thank you. Thank you all. Words are hard. Yeah. That's No, I think like having somebody who is like very much expendable as like kind of that backup option is like really useful. And not to throw it back a little bit, but I feel like season 7 actually kind of did that a little bit with like
Whoa! Call back.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Beck has currently just rewatched season 7, Pearl Islands, and season 13, Hook Islands.
Both fantastic.
Mhm.
But in season 7 Pearl Islands, there kind of like becomes this common enemy of like John, who ends up like just being hated by a good majority of people, but also like a majority of people didn't want to get him out because they're like, that'd be too easy. And there are all these other threats that we could get out instead. And we could just keep around this guy that everybody collectively hates and would almost never get any jury votes anyways. And of course he gets to final 3 and gets um I won't spoil it for those who do want
Right.
to
No, there is like through like the evolution of Survivor, like that used to be the classic game plan was just to like that's where like the term like a goat like was coined in the Survivor realm. You know, goat in Survivor is not greatest of all time. It is someone you drag to the end. But I
You have to
feel like
shepherd them.
in like the 30s and 40s, it kind of slowly shifted from like a goat's not like an annoying person no one's gonna want to vote for to a someone that doesn't do strategy and no one respects their game. Because it did feel like casting wise, they casted less like really grating personalities, I guess. um, which I think on one hand, like it's interesting because there's also been times in Survivor where people are like, there are too many like potential goats. Like I need to get out the goats to ensure that nobody has that option. So they're forced to bring me. So I don't know. I don't know how many like potential goats there are on this season, but we'll have to see.
Yeah,
It's
I
hard to
don't
say because there's still people that haven't been up to tribal.
That's also very
yeah.
true. Okay, wait. That's a good point, Michael. We have 6 people from original orange, 3 from original green, and 4 from purple. So purple and green could team up half majority against orange. But I also feel like we could see. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if orange. We've seen a lot in New Era. The largest tribe kind of offers like a player as a like a peace
Sacrificial
offering.
lamb.
Yeah.
A little bit of sacrifice. Yeah, I feel like I mean, I don't feel like orange is nearly as close as like purple was, especially. At least with like the edits, it definitely seemed like even with like the tribe swap and with like especially like the new purple tribe, like it kind of seemed like there was a lot of division between David and Charity, especially where it was like Charity very much wanted to get out David. David very much wanted to get out Charity, and they were kind of both volunteering up each other kind of for the slaughter. And so it'll be interesting to see like what that dynamic is like post merge, if they'll continue to try and offer each other up. But I do think like a potential alliance to look out for is the current green tribe post
Yeah.
swap with the 2 orange and then the 2 purple. So Joe and Shaheen with Camilla and Kyle. Because I think like I guess like through their tribal council that they had together, they actually almost ended up a lot closer. And so I
Yeah.
don't know if that will last post merge when like the purple are able to reunite with like their purple people, especially like I feel like Joe has a far stronger connection with Eva than he does with quite literally anyone else in this game.
Yeah.
So and like
Totally.
made it very clear at the last um immunity challenge. So I think it'll be interesting to see like if that like alliance remains, or if it ends up just kind of fizzling post merge once they
Mhm.
get talking about how Thomas got eliminated.
Mhm. Yeah, I always feel so wary when they show like because they like when they show like an alliance forming or even like any alliance, like so the four of them being like we're gonna stick together just makes me think like, oh my god, like something's gonna go horribly wrong. Like they're either gonna get picked off one by one or like they are not gonna work together. Like I don't know, last season there was like that underdogs alliance that like worked for like what one episode and then
Right.
like fell
But that
apart.
was also introduced like in like episode 11 or 12, right?
Yeah. It
That was
was
also Andy's fault.
like
Number one Andy hater right here. Sorry, King.
I mean, that whole alliance was BS to begin with, because like we're the underdog alliance, but we're all allying with Rachel, and we're just gonna let Rachel do whatever she wants. Basically, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. It was also like Rachel was killing those immunity
Mhm.
challenges.
Yeah,
And it's
there
like,
wasn't much they could do.
yeah. And it's like obviously like it is enticing to get out like the big beefy man because it's just like, well, you're a big beefy man and that counts. Oh, bye.
That's all the 90s.
Especially in Teeny's eyes. Teeny was like, big beefy man, I hate you. Like, you're gone.
How dare you?
That was debatably the funniest one-sided beef I've ever seen in my life. Was just that ongoing saga of just Teeny hating Sam.
Well, also, did you ever see I think it was Rachel posted on Instagram a pic of like Teeny and Sam when they were kids, and Sam had a crazy glow up. Like,
Really?
yeah, it's insane. I'll have to send it to you after the podcast, but it's on Rachel's Instagram for the viewers if you want to look it up. So like Teeny's beef of like, oh, Sam was the kid in like 8th grade or whatever, moving the desks. Like, actually, no, I don't think Sam was. And Sam even himself was like, I was not that guy. Like,
Sorry to say, I was not that guy. No, that's so funny. That's so interesting. Yeah, but I do think like I will say like the beefy men in this season are like very much at risk, I think. Joe especially, unfortunately, like I will say like while that entire embrace that he did with Eva was amazing
Mhm.
and brought me to tears and was so sweet and so like outside of the game and should be outside of the game.
right.
It is kind of also exposing his like number one allyship and like just how strong their like partnership is and like that could have the potential to have some repercussions of like,
Right.
Yeah.
oh my god, they are quite literally like inseparable.
Do we
And, like,
want to? I think we're getting close. We're kind of we're a little over the 20-minute mark. So if we want to get into our who we think are the teams to watch out for, and how that can tie into our predictions for who we think is gonna go home. Beck, you think like Joe? Do you think like David is in danger? Like I'm just thinking of the other beefy guys.
honestly, yeah. It's honest. My theory for like all new era seasons, and it's been working well. Okay, my drafts have not been working the greatest, but my like relative theory has been working okay. I don't think beefy men win new era Survivor. That is my like prediction. I don't think like obviously like are they extremely powerful? Yes. Are they extremely strong? Also, yes. Is that a huge threat to people and like makes people want to get them out more than anything else in the world? Yes. Like, I can't lie to you. If little old me was on Survivor and I saw a like huge beefy like beefcake David like rolling up on the beach, I'm like, you're going home. And, like I'm
You
so
take the teeny
sorry.
approach.
Yeah.
You're done.
You're done, man. You're going home. Sorry.
Out.
The only like pushback devil's advocate I have is like let's get back into this world you've crafted. You're on this island. Like you see a beefy man, are you gonna be like, if he makes it to the end, I'm voting for him to win? Like just based off. So, and to that point, I think people are looking at like, who are the strategic threats? Who does everyone like that everyone would like happily, gladly vote for them if they did not make it to the end themselves? I think that like thinking about it in terms of like more, all full game aspect, is more of an indication of who are these early merge boots. So I think Joe could be an early merge boot because he does have the physicality. He has that emotional stuff with Eva, and like he seems like a decent strategic threat, unless he's really trying to like hide that. David, on the other hand, I feel like is kind of, I mean, I'm somewhat contradicting myself, but I feel like, I mean, I'm reading kind of more off the edit. I feel like he could go really far because I feel like people trust him and want to like use him as a shield almost. Which actually brings me to, I think Nina's in 10th place. No, 11th. Nina just dropped down a placement from last week. But I think her team has David, Shaheen, and Justin. I think David and Shaheen could both go really far. And she could kind of climb up these ranks. I'm kind of, because I was looking at the other Shaheen teams as he is my only player. And I feel like it could be kind of screwed because no matter what, I think Nina's eventually going to overtake me. And I think either of them could be winners, potential winners. So she could be looking good. But that's my hot take for who to watch out for.
I kind of along that, I guess, potential hot take territory. I would say I would look out for Abby's team personally.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, okay, it's Justin Mary Star, which obviously rest in peace, Justin. Gone but never forgotten. Forgot his name in the group chat. So sorry.
That's crazy. Already forgotten.
Actually forgotten very quickly.
Actually forgotten by me. But I think obviously Mary has been having a crazy edit. Was like on the verge of getting voted out for almost every single one of the first 3 episodes, and somehow managed to avoid that by some luck of God. And like now is kind of almost having like, oh God, what's her name? Season 45, the one who made it. Oh, Emily. Yes, almost having like Emily in it, but wasn't hated at the beginning of the season. Just got hated on by everyone around her for no reason. I love her. That's my truth.
Well, her first episode was kind of wild. I think that's why people were hating.
That's fair. I think she also just decided to side with like the worst person possible, and create an alliance with just the worst choice. Sorry, Michael. But I do think that
her reign did not last long at all. Even she wasn't allowed.
Loved her bucket hat though. Absolutely
loved her bucket hat.
And that's about it that I know about her. But I do think that Mary has a chance to like get past Murgatory and get like pretty far, because I think as long as she like continues to play her game smart, I think she does have the chance to like really be able to like work with everyone and kind of like find a way to like move forward. I also think she's one of the only people remaining in the game, minus Say and Cedric, who know about the remaining idol on Vula's island. So I'm curious if the merge will happen on Vula's island.
They're not going back to Vula. They're not going back to the shithole. They're going to like the really nice beach. That's what they always do.
Oh. Well,
I mean, I'd be happy to be wrong, but I don't know. I just don't see it happening.
I also think out of the 3 islands, or like the 3 tribe areas, Vula would be the worst. Vula would be by far the worst.
They're going to be re-hiding an idol anyways. I mean, maybe, yeah.
That makes sense. One can hope. One can dream. Anyways, I also think Star has a really big potential to do well. I think like obviously she got a nothing edit, and obviously like a lot of people in purple were willing to like bring her up to the slaughter, but I think like she has made a lot of like pretty good relationships with like her new tribe. And I also think surprisingly, I think a smart move for her was giving Eva her idol, because it was at the point where everybody knew that she had that idol. And so it's almost better to publicly be like, here, Eva, take my idol. So that everyone can be like, oh, Eva has the idol once they get to this like mergatory kind of stage. And so
Honestly, I was
sorry.
I was just sorry. Well, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say I think the remainder of the purple tribe could be pretty strong. It's Joe, Shaheen, the like remnants of California girls. Eva's super tight with Joe, obviously. And then Star is suddenly kind of close to Eva too. And so like Shaheen's definitely gonna wanna like be cool with that like three there too. So like them four could kind of be a little like we're like, oh, we'll take out some of Orange. Let's take out like Say. She's a huge threat. And then be like, you know, like so they could kind of sit in the middle there for a second. But
100%.
Michael, who's your like team to watch out for? And if you want to like get into more maybe predictions for who's going home next episode.
Well, I don't want to sound like a kiss ass, but I was actually gonna say Beck's team.
Whoa.
Yes, because I have reasoning. Don't worry, I swear I'm not just a kiss ass. Mary, I think she's in like the perfect spot. Like this is like golden territory. I can't imagine anyone going to like the merge beach and being like, Mary has to go. Like her beef with Say is well known. Everyone knows that she's not close with her old tribe, and she's basically like a free agent. It's as though as you plopped a new player like into the game basically, and can use them for a number. So I think like she'll be fine. And Camilla also I think is in a really good spot. I think like the only thing with her, she could get called out for being like a game player, because she did pull off a pretty big move. But considering that move was pulled off, and the four of them are working together now instead of like against each other, I think that could be swept under the rug. So I think like that's also a really good thing. And I think I could see both of them going far, but like especially Mary. Like I honestly think Mary's making the finale. Like I'm gonna say it now. That's
Whoa.
one of the only things I'm sure about. But
oh my god. Well,
and oh no, you go. Please go.
I will say, like, really quickly, I will say one of the things that Camilla did that I thought was absolutely ingenious was that after she pulled off that crazy move, she still maintained the story that she and Kyle were not.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's still
really,
like she's this number one alliance so under the rug. And it's like, oh yeah, like we can work as a four. And it seems legitimately, at least from the edit, that like Shaheen and Joe are both like relatively pretty willing to work with both Camilla and Kyle, at least for the moment. I don't know if merge will change that because like obviously like Shaheen and Joe have a lot more connections to like the different people. And like obviously like Camilla and Kyle could both like rejoin kind of the orange to create like a hodgepodge type of group, but I'm not sure if that will happen just because of all like the filtering cracks that are like very prevalent in that tribe. So
I think
I'm not sure.
I think Kyle will still want to work with Mitch for sure. Because they had that boat scene. And I don't know if like this new green tribe will stick together like start of merge. Maybe they will. Honestly, I'm throwing my prediction out there. It might be obvious boot, so maybe it's not gonna happen, but I'm just gonna say it. I think Charity could be in a lot of trouble this next week. Because David said she would have been the first to go in orange, and I think if anyone's going to be offered up from the orange tribe as like the majority of the biggest tribe left, I think they're going to offer up Charity. So maybe that's an indication that she definitely won't go, but I don't know. That's just my best educated guess that I could make right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the only other option would be like, in my eyes, I feel like Cedric and Say are kind of close to like kind of teetering the edge of either they could be here for a really long time or they could be gone at some point during like the purgatory, depending on how long. And so like I think there is like the potential for, I mean, Cedric, I think less so. I think Say definitely though. With like her person, like don't get me wrong, I'm kind of starting to love Say. I kind of am starting to like
entertaining
a little bit. Yeah. I think outside of this draft, rooting the hell out of her. Inside of this draft,
Absolutely.
want her on. Sorry, Kim. Much love.
Kim's
But
got
I
a
wouldn't. But no, I do think like she kind of is kind of teetering that edge of either like she's going to be gone next episode or she's going to the final three. And it's kind of unclear. It just really depends on how people feel about her post merge. But I do think like I think the person probably most likely to go during purgatory, which is like probably the safest bet, would be Charity in my eyes.
Okay. So you're predicting Charity as well?
I think so. I'll say a tentative Charity. Backup like 1.5 is like
Is Say.
say. Yeah.
All right.
And then like
Mike.
right under that is Cedric. Okay.
I don't know the exact time, Michael, but we're a little over the 30-minute
We're at
mark.
36 minutes.
Right,
Guys,
okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
You're good.
I love to yap.
No, this is good shit. I feel I have like more insight now after hearing you guys. I definitely like, and before I was also thinking Charity because, and this is definitely reading way too far, like way too much into the edit, but Eva's like kind of like Eva's moment where she's like
That's a
really
reward.
struggling. Charity is shown to like roll her eyes, and I'm like, there's no way she wins. There's no way she wins. There's no way that she goes far. Like that was like I feel like the big thing where I was like, okay, like Charity's done. Like,
and at the reward, Eva's like, I can't read
yes.
people, but Charity's coming off awfully fake right now.
Yeah. I feel like there's just been, I don't know if there's going to be a Genevieve-esque arc with Charity where she's like, I like maybe
It's not
just
there.
Yeah, or she's like, oh, my ways are wrong. I don't know. But I definitely like could see Charity, but I also could see, I feel like I say this every time just because I want her to leave, but Chrissy, just being like, because I feel like she's like an easy perceived threat. Like, like Charity, it's like, okay, no one really likes her. No one really wants to work with her. Like, besides like Mitch, I guess, like her and Mitch are close. But yeah, no, I feel like with Chrissy, it's just, I don't know, like you could just be like, oh, she has to go. And I feel like no one would really try to stop you. Or if it's going to get really crazy, maybe Joe, because I think he's the biggest like perceived threat.
Honestly, I was trying to think about it too. If I was going really crazy takes, I feel like Shaheen could be a sleeper, like in trouble, because he just, I feel like there's no way you're on that island and you're not thinking like that dude's not strategic, so like
He gives strategy.
And like it doesn't seem like he's tight with Joe, and like he could be tight with, if he's really in with Kyle and Camilla, then he'll probably be safe. But
yeah, it really just depends on how he inevitably plays his game, because I don't like, he's not nearly as close with Joe as Joe is with Eva. Yeah. And I think this last episode kind of hopefully made that clear to him so that he would be, I guess, more willing to bring in like the two Orange, like for that kind of tight, like new Vula alliance. Yeah. But I will say on the Chrissy note, like a potential, like obviously like a potential pathway is like Mitch could have felt like pretty betrayed by like kind of the blind side of like getting Bianca out, because it was like, at least to our knowledge, like Chrissy didn't say anything to Mitch. So it's like, and Chrissy was kind of the deciding vote on like voting Bianca out, because I feel like by the time that we were heading to this beach, I don't know about you guys, but I was almost certain that Cedric was going to fuck up somehow, and pardon my French, was going to screw up somehow and vote out Bianca, because that's just how Cedric works. But I didn't think that it would be nearly, like, I didn't think it would be enough votes to
also
vote.
Also, like, Cedric comes to Chrissy and it's like Bianca was lying to us the whole time. But like, from Chrissy's perspective, like, Thomas just went home. You get along with Bianca. Like, if you save her, like she's kind of like indebted to like you and Mitch. Like you don't get along with Say. You're clearly not going to be working with Say in the future.
Literally voted for her.
Just get Say out. Yeah, Mitch already voted. You weren't going to be able to tell Mitch in time. So like, why go? Yeah, I don't think this was a great move.
If anything, if I was Chrissy, you could be really evil and be like, "Oh my God, Cedric, I'm definitely going to do that." So Cedric writes Bianca down, and then you write.
Exactly.
And then you write Say, and then it's like, oh, obviously Cedric vote for Bianca, and then it's like you got Bianca's trust completely.
And then if Cedric gets mad at you, you're like, sorry, I just got cold feet. I like wasn't sure I wanted to go with the original plan that I had with you.
Yeah. No, literally. Like I wanted to maintain the original alliance that I had, not the one made haphazardly on the way to tribal, but that's fine, I guess. It's fine.
It's fine. I don't even care.
It's fine. I'm totally fine about it.
Well, yes.
I'm so sorry. You guys are like, this up, and I'm like, poor thing. I will say also like kind of going off of what we were saying before, but like Bianca was a free agent in that tribe. And I felt like Mitch was able to like kind of see the potential of like having this free agent that we're able to bring into this merge, because it's like Bianca was very clearly willing to work with anyone that was willing to work with her. And I feel like they like severely dropped the ball on that, because like even like going into the merge, like Bianca is indebted to them. Like as you guys were saying, like she owes them her like spot in like the game. Like she is automatically like going to have a super tight bond with whoever decides to keep her there. And it's just like
that's why I was so frustrated when she decided to tell Cedric, because you were in a scenario where it was going to be locked between Say or Chrissy, right?
Yeah.
And so like just sit tight and like you can apologize tomorrow, like, and even if they don't accept your apology, like whatever, like this is you're focusing on the now. And like, oh god, I have 2 players in 2 weeks in a row. Kai and Michael jinxed me, bro.
Oh no. Go for 3? No.
That's crazy. I mean, that's at this point I'm like, I'm predicting Shocking's gonna go next episode.
I hope you're wrong. I really like him as a character, and I hope he goes far. But
well,
who knows?
We'll see. Well, thank you so much, Beck, for being with us on this pod of episode 5 of the Michael and Ellis show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Ellis, final words. Would you like to let us out?
Yeah, sure. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay tuned. I'll be uploading the score updates. I think I'm gonna start uploading them day of as a quick like happy Survivor Day, everyone. Here are the updated scores. So definitely doing that. Stay tuned. Watch our last short kind of popped off, which is kind of crazy. But yeah. Thank you everyone for watching. See y'all next Wednesday. Bye-bye.